And welcome back to College Football Tradition here on YouTube, Apple Podcast, and Spotify. I'm Bryan Partiga, joined alongside my bro hosts and co-hosts Lucas Miller and Jacob Vanderford. We're here to talk about the last night's college football playoff rankings. They're finally revealed. We finally have a top 25 under our belt, and I know we have some discrepancies that we want to kind of just vent out to all of you. We also have some Heisman talks as those races heat up heading into November. Some trivia that we will throw back at y'all that we've been doing over the past couple weeks. But definitely want to start with some of the high level quarterback play that's been going on this year. Lucas, you have what, 4 or 5 Heisman guys that you're looking at this year? Wondering where you stand with that big race heading into the month of November.
Yeah, so I kind of just went through and picked out a couple here. I had like a tie for first and somewhat of a tie for fourth, so I might throw in like maybe six names, but at the forefront I have Julian Sayin from um Ohio State and then Mendoza from Indiana. I feel like both of them, especially being in the conference like the Big Ten, they have been playing at a very high level. Sayin has 2,188 passing yards this season with 23 touchdowns. He does have three picks to his name, but it's very similar to the stats of Mendoza with 2,124 passing yards, 25 touchdowns. He has four picks. And what was interesting is their completion percentages are pretty similar as well as Mendoza's in the mid 70s at 73 and then saying at 80%. But they've both been, very high value guys this season for the number one ranked team in the country and number two ranked team in the country. They're also on a lot of draft boards, going high in the top five. Um, at three, I have Ty Simpson from Alabama. This was kind of like iffy for me because I like Marcel Reed a lot. So I kind of have Simpson and Reed like going back and forth between two and three. Simpson's pretty similar stat lines this season to Julian Sand, 2,184 yards with 20 touchdowns. He does have only one interception, which is very impressive, only having one pick so far throughout 10, 11 weeks of football. The percentage of his completions is not great at 67%, but Marcel Reed has been super impressive to me this year, especially in the run game. I think that offense at Texas A&M has been so dynamic this year with how they can run the football. He has 64 rushing attempts this year for 349 yards, six rushing touchdowns, and then his passing stats complement that pretty well. He's up over 1,900 passing yards. He does have six interceptions though, with 17 touchdowns, so that puts a little blemish there on his record compared to the other couple of quarterbacks. So that's why I kind of have him a little bit lower. But I think his run game has been unbelievable, and he's obviously like opening that offense up to how explosive they have been the past couple weeks. I mean, we've seen him drop upwards of 40 plus points in a couple SEC games. And then rounding out the top five, I kind of was going back and forth between Diego Pavia and Trinidad Chambliss from Ole Miss. I think that they've both played very well. Obviously, Ole Miss and their offense has been super high powered. Diego Pavia, everybody knows his name by now, transferring up from New Mexico State. He's been great for Vanderbilt. They have completely had their program turned around this year, and it's large part due to him. And then rounding out the Heisman top five, I took Jeremiah Love from Notre Dame and Jeremiah Smith from Ohio State. I think he's clearly the best wide receiver in the country. Um, that's no dig on like Ryan Williams or anybody else, but I think Smith, if there was going to be a player this year that's not a quarterback who has won it, it would be Jeremiah Smith at the receiver position.
Yeah, for sure. I'm curious to know, like, what were some of the big factors that, you have Mendoza and Juliet saying, and I think both mean different things to their team up at the top. And then you mentioned Chambliss and also Marcel Reed. Like, what were kind of like the factors that you had in there for putting them up in that top tier of guys you were looking at?
Yeah, I think with San and Mendoza, I mean, when you look at those guys, their teams are ranked one and two. So I figured at that point, like I kind of have to go with the guys who are leading the best teams in the country. Um, I think that they've both been almost flawless this year. I mean, I mentioned their stats. There's seven combined interceptions between the two of them. Marcel Reed, I would kind of give the edge over Ty Simpson just because I mentioned the dynamic play style of him. But Ty Simpson as well has been great. I think those four, they would be my top four. And then I would almost put Jeremiah Smith up over Pavia and Chambliss just so we can have another position group up there.
For sure. Yeah. Jacob.
Yeah, I love the rankings. I really don't have much to say about, and like I can't contest any of the things that you're saying about any of the players. I definitely have Fernando Mendoza at the top. Love what Julian Sand's doing, but just Indiana taking a team that notoriously is not a football school. And obviously the past 2 years, Signetti has been able to take that team to the heights in the playoff last year with Rourke and all of that. But just seeing them back at it, 9-0 team, a lot of really strong wins, road wins against ranked teams is really impressive. I just don't know who Ohio State has really beat yet. Like they've beat everybody really dominantly. But I'm just kind of like, I don't really like, I need to wait to see like if when they play some of these top ranked teams to see what that would look like, what a Julian Sand can do. Obviously, he has a lot of these weapons too. Like you talked about Carnell Tate and Jeremiah Smith. I wonder if he was on a team without those kind of weapons, what would he look like? Would he be able to spray the ball around as much as he has? He has that great release and all of that, but I'd like to see him maybe like run the ball a little bit more and show more of that capacity too. I just feel like Fernando Mendoza is the whole package there, being able to put the ball on the ground and then also throw it through the air and just taking Indiana to the summit where they've never really been before in that top two ranking is just incredible to me. So that's part of the reason why I just think Mendoza edges it out in that respect. I really like Marcel Reed a lot too. I think he would be up there for me. He reminds me a lot of Lamar Jackson in a way, just the electricity and the jitteriness that he's able to provide on the field really just energizes that Texas A&M team. I'm curious about some of these other conferences too, though. Like you think about a Big 12 conference, teams like BYU and Texas Tech. Do they get any love in the Heisman race? You talked about Notre Dame. I really like the Jeremiah Love pick. I think he's been having a stellar year, close to 1,000 yards rushing, 11 touchdowns. And then I also think about a team like Virginia, who is top of the ACC now. Chandler Morris leading the way there. Virginia is not really a football school either, and they haven't been for a long time. So seeing them in the top 15 is crazy to me. I really wanted Georgia Tech's Haynes King to be in there as well, but I think he kind of drops out of it now after losing to NC State this past weekend. So yeah, I'm just curious. Do y'all think that any of these other conferences, BYU with Bear Bachmeier, does he jump in there at all? Big 12 ACC, or do you think it's mainly a Big 10 SEC race?
Hmm. That's tough. I mean, Bear Bachmeier can, but I don't know if he has the stats to do it. But
Yeah.
if he were to lead BYU to an undefeated record and maybe there was some type of kind of like quarterback carnage in other areas, and I don't mean, of course, injuries. I just mean like let's say a couple more interceptions happen for some of those other guys we talked about, or turnovers, or maybe Marcel Reed dropped. Maybe they didn't make the playoffs for Texas A&M and they lost a few to end the year. That's one of the ways I could see like a guy like Bear get back in there. And then Texas Tech, I mean, they've kind of had some injuries at quarterback, a
Yeah.
couple different times this year. So it's hard to tell, I guess. It kind of depends on what you're thinking of with the award. But when I'm talking about like, Lucas mentioned Ty Simpson, Julian Sand, and Mendoza, like three guys who are just playing elevated level of football. It's going to be hard for a Big 12 guy like last year with Travis to really get some more appreciation, I think. And a guy like Jeremiah Love, the running back for Notre Dame, or even Jeremiah Smith for Ohio State. Like I think it'll be hard for some of those other guys in a year like this where there's such strong quarterback play.
Yeah, I'm a little bit worried for the award. Just I feel like it's turning more and more into a quarterback award. And you already have like the Maxwell and the Davy O'Brien and a Unitas Golden Arm and all of that. And I'm like, there's a lot of awards for quarterbacks right now. I understand that they're like the captain of the football team and all of that, and your team really runs with your quarterback play. But I just wish that there was more love to some of these running backs or wide receivers, but there really isn't any prolific, outside playmakers or anything that can make a jump over these quarterbacks. And there's just so much good quarterback play this year. So I am worried a little bit about the nature of the award moving forward.
Yeah, that was kind of my thoughts like last season. I think I was kind of worried about that because I was hoping so much that it would be Genty or Hunter that had won. And in the back of my mind, I just was so worried about the quarterback factor in
Yeah.
it. But I think that this year, like, especially those three, like Sayan, Mendoza, and Simpson, and then like fourth would be Reed, I would think. Like it's so top heavy with quarterbacks this year that it's not even like, oh, it's an excuse of a quarterback award. It's that they're so dominant this year that I don't see an alleyway for, a Jeremiah Love or Jeremiah Smith to get in unless they were playing like to the level that Hunter and Genty were last year.
For sure. Yeah, I think a year like this is kind of tough. But, the 2020s have been good to non-quarterbacks. You saw Devontae Smith win it in 2020. And then obviously last year, the top two guys being non-quarterbacks. So I hope that the narrative is starting to change on what it really means to elevate your team in college football. But like you both mentioned, those three guys and Reed as well, doing the dirty work for sure, and making a case for the Heisman Trophy. I want to make sure I get to the next activity for our podcast today. So, Jacob, I've been rattling your brain, man, with some of these nicknames of
Yeah, this is
FCS
tough.
programs. um, I got two for you. I wanted to stay kind of in your neck of the woods of Nebraska, so I'm in the region, and I'm wondering if you know the nickname, and if you don't, we could also pass it off to Lucas, see if he knows. Want to see both
Yeah,
your guesses.
please.
I want to go Northern Iowa out of the Missouri Valley Football Conference.
Panthers.
Oh, that was quick.
Yeah, I
Tell
have
me
friends
the
that go to
backstory.
Northern Iowa, so that was easy.
Oh, okay. So you had friends. Okay, okay.
Yeah,
That
purple and yellow, I think, or purple and gold. Those are their colors.
okay.
And I forget what town are they in. I should know that, but yeah, Panthers.
Nice. Okay. Okay. That was good. That was good. In the Unidome, one of the smallest domes in
Yeah,
the country. Okay. The next one I got, the final one I got for you. There's a school in Pennsylvania, St. Francis, who is moving down from the FCS, not to Division 2, but to Division 3. They're getting rid of athletic scholarships altogether, which is just crazy and something we might see even more in this era of college sports. St. Francis, who is their nickname? What is their nickname?
I feel like Lucas is gonna know this. Uh, oh no. I'm gonna go with like the Pirates. That's totally wrong, but
Not the
So like I
Pirates.
should know this because I'm from PA, but I'm really stumped on it. But can I take a guess?
Take a guess.
Is it the Red Flashes?
Yeah, it's the Red Flash. Yeah, so
Really?
that's
that's it.
crazy.
Nice. Wow, that was good. That was good.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like oh man, just
Never heard of that team. Aren't they
yeah.
playing? Oh yeah, they're playing TCU in basketball coming up.
Oh yeah, St. Francis made March Madness, I think, a couple times.
They
Yeah.
made it
Yeah.
last year, I believe.
Yeah. Didn't they win a game last year?
Yeah, they were in like the first four and they had won like as a 16 seed.
Oh,
Wow.
okay. Right. Right. Nice. All right,
Sweet.
Jacob, you got one for
Time
me?
for a little trivia questions for you.
Okay.
Um, okay. Let's see. What do we want to do? Um, okay, what two teams played in the first bowl game?
I do know the answer. Um, Stanford and Michigan in the Rose Bowl.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Do you know what year?
I want to say was it 1900 or 1910? Mm,
Yeah,
1910?
it's in the 1900, yeah, not in the 1910s. It was 1902 and
1902. Okay.
Michigan won 49 to nothing.
Okay, okay. Yeah,
Big
I knew
stand
Michigan
against
had
the
beat
Cardinals.
Stanford. Okay, nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
granddaddy of them all.
Yep.
I think I wrote that
Um,
article already, just hasn't posted, and that's how I knew.
okay. Okay, cool. And then my next one is what is the oldest football stadium in the country?
Is it in Hoboken? Uh,
Man, I wish. Love some Hoboken.
I don't know, but I did see something on like Twitter like an hour ago, and it has like the Toledo Glass Bowl sign, and then under it it says 1745, which is obviously not the year that the Glass Bowl was invented or anything like that. But I just thought it was funny. Lucas, do you have a guess?
Um, I was gonna say I was gonna say Michigan or the Coliseum, but I don't. That's just a guess out of nowhere. I don't remember when they had made the Coliseum, but that would have been my guess.
Stadiums.
So I'll give you the answer. Apparently, it's Franklin Field, and it's the home of the Penn Quakers. And this is
Really?
yeah,
Oh
this
yeah,
is the
I
oldest
remember that.
continuously operating football stadium.
Oh,
First stadium to have a scoreboard. Hosted the first ever televised football game broadcast as well.
really?
And then another fun fact about it is from 1958 through 1970, it was the home of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Oh, dang. Wow. And also home to the Penn Relays. They have that track there. It's a wacky track too. It's like not
A
normal.
whack track.
It's a whack track. It is a whack track. That's a good one. That's wow. A lot of
Yeah.
history for the
Those are
Penn
the two of the
Quakers.
day.
That wow. I love it. That's great.
Woo!
As we continue on, the college football playoff rankings, they were released last night. And man, oh man, do I have some things to say. I'm sure you guys do as well. Our top 25, Ohio State rounded out uh, the top 25. They came in at number one, the reigning champs. Number two was Indiana. I think some people thought that Indiana could be at above Ohio State. I don't think people were surprised to see Alabama as the highest one-loss team. That team has more better wins than anybody in the country. We see BYU and Texas Tech, two Big 12 teams, in the top 10. Notre Dame in the top 10. A two-loss Notre Dame, 8 spots ahead of Miami, a team that they lost to at the beginning of the year. Iowa somehow makes it in at number 20. No group of six. We see Pitt make it. Missouri, Tennessee. Guys, what were your initial thoughts of the rankings?
You go for it, Lucas.
Yeah, I thought. I mean, I think that one through like five is pretty good. I think that I had done a prediction like an hour beforehand that I had sent you guys, and it was pretty close, I thought. But
Mm-hmm.
I had more like not complaints really, but just more like analysis, I guess, on near the back half of it. Um, I had like Louisville and Memphis kind of thing. I thought that Memphis was gonna be ranked. I had them at 12, like kind of tied with where I thought Louisville would be. Louisville then drops down to 15 there in the CFP. Um, I like that Memphis is still going to be in there as that group of five, group of six, in the bracket. I would still think that they should get ranked. I mean, they have a big game this week against Tulane, which could maybe boost them up. Iowa's interesting. I kind of like that they're ranked. I think they've had a couple of pretty good wins. The only things that they haven't shown that they're like super dominant. I guess they had kind of blown out Wisconsin early on, but like Wisconsin's two-win team. Um, Thought they would have handled Penn State a lot better, honestly. But I think that with having another team ranked in the Big Ten, that definitely helps that conference a lot. They've got a big game this weekend against Oregon coming up. That was another team I had them at 9 as well. I think in the top 10 specifically, BYU and Texas Tech, I think are both at pretty good spots. They're going to play each other this weekend, so that'll kind of pan out between them. Alabama, Georgia, Ole Miss, that's all fine. The Notre Dame thing, I also had them ranked at 10. I think that them and Oregon are very similar in my eyes, at least, that they still have a lot to prove. I think that Notre Dame's a very good football team. I think their two losses were very close to teams that are also very good. They have a couple big games coming up this year. I believe they still play Pitt. They still play Navy. Um, Navy's not a bad team. I think if Notre Dame can kind of win convincingly against Navy and win a big game against Pitt, who's another college football playoff team in these rankings, that would help them a lot. I think they really just need to take care of business in order to get in at this point. So I don't, other than that, from what I've agreed with and like from what I complained about at the back half of it, I think a lot of it I'm really fine with. The only other thing might be Texas, but like I don't even know where else I would put Texas at this point. Like they definitely haven't played up to their expectations. I think that they still have a lot of potential. I think at 11 is fine because I think Utah still has a lot to prove. I think Virginia still has a lot to prove. Louisville is okay where they are. So I think Texas at 11, especially being ahead of Oklahoma, is pretty good.
Yeah, I think that there was a lot of good head-to-head usage here, like Alabama over Georgia, Georgia over Ole Miss, Texas over Oklahoma, Oklahoma over Michigan, like Virginia over Louisville. So there, USC over Michigan. So I liked a lot of the usage of head-to-head outside of the Notre Dame Miami situation. That one kind of just didn't feel right to me. So that was where my main point was. But Jacob, what were your thoughts on the initial top 25? I know no Nebraska, and you were kind of hoping that they would.
Yeah, no, they're done in the top 25. I'm done with that team. They're pissing me off. No, I'm really interested in a team. This is one team that I've hyped up a lot on the podcast, and it's the Washington Huskies. I'm excited to see them ranked. Being up there, top 25 now. I want to see if they can inch their way into possibly the CFP the playoff conversation because you think about a player like Damon Williams, you think about um, Jonah Coleman, and you think about Denzel Boston. I've talked about them a lot, but I really like those three playmakers. The only hard thing for me about that team is the defense, but I think they might be able to inch their way into the conversation. So I'm excited to see them in the rankings. I like all the head-to-heads, like you all talked about already. I definitely think it makes a lot of sense. I think Indiana deserves to be number one. I think Ohio State has had a great year. They're a dominant team. But until they play each other and we finally see who will win in that rivalry and that head to head, I think Indiana deserves to be number one just because of the teams that they've played. Beating Oregon on the road is an incredible win to me. So I still think that they deserve to be number one. I think A&M at three makes sense. I like Alabama up there. I think they're going to be a really strong team to look out for in the playoff. Yeah, and then I think Utah, I'm really interested to see their schedule is really a cupcake schedule coming up. And so if they win out, I think they have a chance to jump into that top 12 and be another representative for the Big 12. I'm curious how many representatives they'll have. I'm thinking two, just based on whoever wins this upcoming game with BYU and Texas Tech. That'll be interesting. Vanderbilt losing to Texas. I was really hoping to see them in playoff contention, but I mean, it could still happen. They just have a tough schedule, but yeah, I think overall, like the rankings, I don't think Iowa deserves to be ranked, but that's just my Midwestern Nebraska mentality. I think they still have a lot to prove, but yeah, I think overall the committee did a good job.
I'm not someone who likes to shame the committees, over the years or anything like that. Every single year, outside of when they put Alabama in over an undefeated Florida State, that was the only time I've ever disagreed with someone who got in versus someone who I think deserved it a little bit more based on a whole seasons thing. Even though, of course, we have all maybe thought Alabama was better that year, and I think that's valid for sure. But when I look at this rankings, it's hard for me when I look at Iowa and Missouri. It's mainly Missouri and Tennessee for me because I would love to like say what is Missouri's best win. It's Kansas. Kansas is Missouri's best win.
Yeah.
They're getting rewarded for a close loss to Alabama and a close loss to Vanderbilt. And that's fine, but I really would rather the committee and these rankings showcase the wins. I don't care if they lose by one or lose by 50. It should show later on in the year. Right now, I think it could be so much more fluid than it is. And then for Tennessee, same deal, kind of getting rewarded for nothing, for who they lost to when their best win is Mississippi State. So I have a problem with those two teams being ranked. It kind of feels like they're in there for, to prop up
Brand
some of
name.
the things that could help some of the teams at the top later on in the year.
Yeah.
And then I'll say one thing too. Texas at number 11, with them still having Georgia on the schedule and Texas A&M on the schedule, I'll say it right now, if they win one and lose the other and then they finish 9-3, they're going to be in the playoff. Like
Yeah.
they're going to be the first 9-3 team. If they win one of those games and lose the other, they will be in. And I think that's probably what's going to happen. Like,
Yeah, I agree. I,
yeah,
I I agree with you on Tennessee too. Like the 6-3 record, like that's a huge blemish. And there's so many other good two-loss teams that deserve to be in that spot. So yeah, I think Tennessee deserves to be unranked.
I don't understand. Why don't you put Memphis there? Like, why
Yeah,
not put Memphis there?
so dumb.
I don't know. I mean, and you guys know I put out a top 25 over the past 2 weeks, and I did a little deep dive, and I was curious of how overrated the SEC was in this poll, the playoff poll, compared to mine. And the SEC, they came in at a total of 23 total spots overranked in totality, compared to my poll. And the ACC came in at a total of 24 spots underranked, mainly due to Virginia and Louisville kind of being behind, Oklahoma and Utah and Notre Dame. And even to an extent, Oregon, because Oregon's best win is Northwestern. Do I think Oregon is better than Virginia? Yes, I think Oregon is better than Virginia. But when your best win is Northwestern, and then I look at Virginia and they have a win over a good team like Louisville, and Louisville is the only team this year to beat a James Madison, who's really tough, one of the best defenses in the country. I just feel like Oregon has so much ahead of them. Why do we have to put them ahead to start? I thought the Big Ten was fairly ranked overall. The Big 12, surprisingly, was fairly ranked overall, mainly due to Utah being way higher than I thought that they would be. But overall, I thought that Memphis could have been, in that 25 spot. I mean, just why not do it? Like, pick another team in the Rocky Top state.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Any other thoughts on the top 25?
Yeah, I think something that's pretty interesting that's going to be coming up is the race with these couple of Big Ten schools, specifically Oregon, USC, Michigan, Iowa, and Washington, because they all end up like playing almost each other throughout the rest of the season. I just pulled up some of their schedules. Oregon, uh, or Michigan rather. The rest of their schedule is Northwestern, Maryland, and Ohio State. So like they should be able to beat Northwestern and Maryland, and then they obviously have the big game against Ohio State. But Oregon
And
specifically,
for a playoff spot
Washington,
for sure.
yeah.
For
Oregon
sure.
and Washington specifically, they play each other at the end of the year, obviously. And Oregon still has to play USC, and Oregon still has to play Iowa. And then Washington's upcoming schedule is at Wisconsin, Purdue, at UCLA, and then the Oregon game. So all of these teams will end up kind of like pushing each other around here throughout November. And I think that that's really going to open everyone's eyes to which of that group of like 4 or 5 teams is going to be the best ones that can get in. I think for right now, I would say Washington has a really good case as their biggest game would be at home against Oregon at the end of the year.
Yeah, very, very good point for sure. Because a lot of those teams do play each other. And I think the final top 12, I think, will be really situated nicely. Everybody keeps talking about Mendoza and Julian Sayin in the Big Ten championship, both 12 and 0, and the winner of that game potentially winning the Heisman Trophy. I'm telling you what, and I said it a couple times, if I'm Kurt Signetti and Ryan Day, I'm shaking hands at midfield and I'm not starting either quarterback in that game. The loser is going to get a first round bye still. The winner is going to get a first round bye, of course. So if that is the situation, I mean, that's what I would do personally, just because I don't know. What does it matter? Like, I mean, you're just putting yourself in another situation to potentially have an injury. Even though, of course, you want to win a Big Ten title, especially if you're Indiana. I understand that. But when it comes to playoff seeding, I mean, the getting rid of the top four teams who get a bye having to be conference champions, I think that was a mistake made a couple months ago.
Yeah. I think the coaches will just say it comes down to competitive spirit. Like we got to win all the games and throughout the
Mhm.
year. And but yeah, I agree with you. I think I mean the CFP rankings and you going in there healthy with your quarterback and all of that definitely trumps winning a Big Ten Big Ten championship. So yeah, I think they'll just say, oh, it's in competitive spirit, but that shouldn't matter.
For sure. Where do you guys think the winner of BYU Texas Tech, number 7 and number 8 in the country, where do you think the winner and loser drop and fall to, or rise and fall to after this week?
Um, does Ole Miss they don't play this weekend, correct? I think they're
I
off.
don't think so. No, they don't. Yeah.
So I was gonna say, I mean, the winner, I would have to think like what would happen in front of them because I feel like if Ohio State, Indiana, I think A&M plays Missouri, correct?
Oh, Ole Miss plays the
I think if
Citadel,
all of them, like
right?
win or like they have buys, I don't see either and I don't see Tech or BYU jumping any of them. Um, but I mean the loser, yeah, could definitely fall back behind like probably Oregon all the way through Oklahoma if those teams are all, still intact throughout the weekend.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Ole Miss plays the Citadel this week, so I think the winner definitely passes Ole Miss. Georgia plays Mississippi State. Alabama plays LSU. Hmm. Jacob, what do you think?
Uh,
That's a
I
good
don't
point.
know. I don't think you can punish those top six teams for beating the teams that they're going to be playing. And a BYU, if they beat a Texas Tech, I don't think they should be jumping those teams based on. I mean, they're all still winning the games, and even if you're beating a team that's an 8 seed, that shouldn't really impact where you go from there. So I think BYU stays put if they win, or Texas Tech, they'll jump up to 7 if they win. But I think one of these teams, like Lucas said, will probably jump down to behind Oklahoma or even a Utah team as well. But again, like BYU has the head to head against Utah, so I think they stay ahead of Utah if they win the game or if they lose the game.
I
For
think
sure.
that the only way would be like if I mean Texas Tech has one loss. I think even if they beat BYU and let's say you punish Ole Miss because they're only playing Citadel, I don't think that Texas Tech jumps Ole Miss. I think if BYU with being undefeated, if they like somehow blow out Texas Tech, they could probably jump Ole Miss. But that would be the only thing, would they would only jump one spot.
Yeah, for sure. Not a lot of weight as far as movement in regards to that game, at least for the winner. It doesn't seem like it. I'd be shocked if they passed Georgia just because Georgia's win over Ole Miss. So I do think that Ole Miss is kind of the only movable piece there, if you will. But also as the season goes on, and maybe you do have a Big 12 team that could be fighting for a bye. I think that really should play a factor in here as well because there's a real situation where A&M and Alabama are the two teams playing for the SEC title. And if they are doing so, then are we going to punish the loser of that game? And does Georgia move up into a spot where they could get a bye, or is it going to be a Big 12 team? So there's a lot of different things that could happen there. I just hope that conference championship weekend comes and the Big Ten title game and the SEC title game have little bit more weight, like on it for like the loser, a little bit more of a punishment for the loser of those games than what I think is coming down the pipeline for these rankings. So it's tight, it's close. A lot of things still left to happen.
Before we move on, could I ask you guys a question? So for the Big Ten championship, with the projection being Ohio State versus Indiana, correct? That's not something that has been clinched as of yet by either team, correct?
No, not mathematically. No.
Okay, so like there could still be something like there could be chaos in the Big Ten going down the stretch where somebody else could potentially get in.
For sure. Like if Ohio State lost to Michigan,
Yeah.
then I think I don't know if Oregon could get in. I don't know what the tiebreaker
Yeah,
situation is for
okay.
Oregon Ohio State.
That's
Yeah.
what I was kind of thinking. If like down the road, like, I don't think Indiana's going to drop to anyone, but in the event that Michigan beats Ohio State again, maybe Oregon loses at Washington, something like that, and Iowa, you know, doesn't beat Oregon but wins out the rest of their games. Like if there was any situation that it wouldn't be Ohio State versus Indiana. That
Could
was
be,
that's my question.
yeah. That's a good question. I mean, the Big Ten race is so interesting because it is so packed between teams that have only lost one game. Even though Michigan has two losses overall, if they beat Ohio State, they could potentially play for the Big Ten title against Indiana.
Okay.
Can Nebraska get still make it?
No, no, I'm shutting them down. They're done.
I love it. I love it. Um, Well, let's move into our pick'em as we wrap up the show tonight. Do we just want to do all the games that involve a ranked team?
Yeah.
Love it. Okay, cool. All right, Friday night, Big Ten action on Fox. Unfortunately, even if you do have YouTube TV still, you can watch this game. Unlike some of the SEC games that we are about to mention, Northwestern, who is Oregon's best win, is traveling to number 19 USC. Guys, who you got?
I'm gonna take USC. It's at home. They just come off a great win against Nebraska, against a tough defense, gritty win against a harsh environment. I think Maiyava's playing well. I would have liked to see him maybe complete a few more passes in the last game, and Makai Lemon, I think they could have incorporated him a little bit more. They're down to their third string running back, but King Miller is a great running back, and he had a great game against Nebraska. So I think they'll be able to run the ball. I think Maiyava will be able to get back to his throwing ways, and I think USC will take this one.
If Maiyava doesn't play well early, I think this game could get a little bit scary for the Trojans, but I still would think that they can pull this off against Northwestern at home. I think they have some good momentum right now, after that win in Lincoln, and I would take USC.
For sure. I'm going to take USC. Anytime a Big Ten team is crossing the Rockies, same with the ACC, usually doesn't go well. It would take a lot for me to choose a team traveling across that mountain range. Okay, we get into the noon slate of Saturday. Number one, Ohio State in a scary spot. They've been here before, traveling to a lowly Purdue squad. Uh, Quick and easy. I'm going to take Ohio State, boa constrictor defense.
Yeah, I would say Ohio State. I mean,
Yep.
they're favored by 29 and a half. I think they could probably win by 30 something, honestly. It's against Purdue.
Yeah, that's an easy pick. It's Ohio State.
For sure. And they've covered, I think, every game this year. Number two, Indiana, traveling to Penn State, who is still showing a little bit of fight this year. Guys, who we got?
You want me to go?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna be at that game actually.
Okay.
So I'm hoping that it's at least a little bit better of a turnout than the homecoming game against Northwestern, which was the day before they fired Franklin, because that stadium was almost as empty as I've ever seen it. Um, yeah, I think it's supposed to be the stripe out game, so I think that we'll have a little bit better crowd. Um, I don't know. I don't think that we're gonna be able to stop Indiana, but just for the fun of the fact I'm going to the game, I'll take Penn State one more time.
Hey now, big upset. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Indiana. I don't think they're gonna drop another game this year. Mendoza's too strong, and that defense is suffocating. So I got to take Indiana.
For sure. And hey, if Penn State wins, could they be the first five-loss team to make the cup? Never mind. Indiana.
I don't. If they're not even going to make a bowl game. I mean, hopefully, if they win this game, it puts them in a little bit of a right direction. But I don't know.
Um, Number five, Georgia. Scary spot heading over to Tennessee's best win of the year, Mississippi State. Who we got in this one?
Georgia.
If this game was at night, I might take Mississippi State, but Georgia.
Okay. I'm also going to go with Georgia. I think it's only an 8.5 point line. I think it could get scary, depending on how the Georgia offense plays. We've seen it played a couple different ways this year. Run game hasn't been as stout as it has been in years past, so it could be tight. I think Mississippi State could cover though. They've played well against Georgia before, but Georgia as well. Big one, number seven BYU traveling to number eight Texas Tech. Who we got?
This is tough. The home game for Texas Tech, I think that's big, and it's also College game day and all that stuff. I'm sure Patrick Mahomes is going to be there, all the things. So I for me, I got to take BYU because they're on my fantasy league and I need them to keep winning. But if I didn't have that, I would probably take Texas Tech. But I'm going to go with BYU.
I'm definitely going to be watching this game on my phone while I'm in Beaver Stadium because it's at the same time as my game. But um, I think with Texas Tech being at home, they're going to have a lot of momentum, especially with game day being there. I'm sure Lubbock can get really crazy. So I think I'm going to go with the Red Raiders.
Okay, nice. I like it. I am gonna go with BYU. I think what we've seen from them as far as running the football, as far as defense over the past couple weeks has been really special. Although they're gonna have to beat Texas Tech in the trenches. That's where I think Tech has won even the game they lost. I thought that they won that game in the trenches as well against Arizona State. But I'm going to go with BYU. I think that there's something special happening to this season. And I say they go 9-0. All right, I'm gonna skip Ole Miss Citadel. Texas A&M versus number 22, somehow ranked Missouri. Who we got?
A&M.
Yeah, gotta take A&M. I think Missouri finally gets out of the rankings after this game, and I think Marcel Reed continues to make his case for that Heisman.
Yeah, for sure. It's only a 6.5 point line. So I do expect it to be close as Missouri's losses have been. Missouri, I think could still get to nine wins. They'll definitely get to 7 or 8, but I don't have this being one of them. A&M continues to roll. They've been special this year. Okay, number 9, Oregon, traveling to number 20, Iowa. Gronowski's back at quarterback. Who we like?
You're going or me?
You go.
Well, I saw that the weather's not supposed to be that great in Kinnick Stadium, possibly down into the 30s, low 40s, rain, sleet. My cousin's an Oregon fan, and he was at the whiteout with me, and they beat Penn State then, so I'm gonna go with Iowa at the upset.
All right.
I like it. I
I
like it.
can't pick Iowa. I gotta go with Oregon. Oregon will, I think will definitely cover the spread and definitely put up a lot of points with that offense. And I think Dante Moore will get back to spraying the ball around the field and all of that. And I just don't think Iowa has enough to score the amount of points that Oregon can. So I got Oregon.
Okay, I'm gonna take Iowa as well in this one. I think this is a scary spot for Oregon. Dante Moore has an absolute chance to put his name in with the top three guys that we were talking about for quarterback for Heisman if he's able to have a good game here. But man, Gronowski's healthy again, and the defense for Iowa has stepped up. The offense has been as good as it's been in 38 years. So I think that this is for Iowa. Man, it would be huge if they won this one, wouldn't it? So I'm also going to take Iowa. Okay, Syracuse versus Miami. We remember what happened last year. Fran Brown's squad took down Miami, ruined their playoff hopes at the end of the year. But this one is in Miami Gardens, Florida. So who do we got in this?
I'll go. I'll take Miami. They're ranked and they're still ranked. But the losses that they had, tough games. Carson Beck needs to figure out the interceptions, but I think they'll be a Syracuse team that's struggling a little bit.
Yeah, I think with this one being in Miami, especially, I and Syracuse only having 3 wins on the season, I don't see them pulling that off like they did last year. They were a little bit more respectable last year, and I think that was in Syracuse, I believe. So that, definitely their home crowd was a factor in that game. I think Miami comes out, I think they'll cover the spread, honestly. I think that they're going to win this one big.
Yeah, I also have them winning this one big. Carson Beck getting back on track. Auburn traveling to number 16, Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt in a must-win situation in this one. Who we got?
You got it, Lucas.
Yeah, I like Vanderbilt in this one. I think Pavia will play really well. Their run game looked pretty good the other week against Missouri. Especially with it being at home. They said that was like one of the biggest games in Vanderbilt ever. So besides that Alabama game, I think this one's just as big as those. I'd take Vanderbilt.
I think Vanderbilt's got to start out strong. They came out with an awful start against Texas last week, and that just put them behind the 8 ball. So I think if they're able to score some points right away, maybe go up 14-0, that'll really spark their confidence, and I think they'll definitely get back on track, and they'll win this one in Nashville.
Okay, I am gonna go with Auburn in this one. Auburn just let go of Hugh Freeze. The offense has been sputtering, kind of just horrible. They just lost to Kentucky, right? They barely beat Arkansas. They've had some heartbreaking losses. Single digit loss to Oklahoma, same thing to A&M, 10 point loss to Georgia, single digit loss to Missouri. Like this has been a heartbreaking season for the Tigers, but I think that with all of the things that have been going on with that program, I would love to see Vanderbilt continue to win and Diego Pavia do his thing, and I think they very well could, but I'm gonna go against the grain here, pick Auburn. Okay, next one, a few more. Um, Washington traveling to a gritty Wisconsin team.
Question mark.
I got
Um,
Washington. I'll be quick. I got
yeah,
Washington.
I'll trust them to go in and get that win. Um, it might be tough. I don't know. And I only say that because it's in Wisconsin. The weather might not be great, but I think Washington's got it.
Yeah, I gotta take Washington. Wisconsin is just not in a good spot. But yeah, Washington is it's a good team. They'll keep it going.
Yeah, I have them as well. Wake Forest traveling to number 14, Virginia, the Cardiac Cavs. Who we got in this one?
Virginia, they're a pesky bunch over there, the Cavaliers, and I think they'll keep their great season going and hopefully be up for a playoff spot at the end of the year.
Yeah, I think Virginia keeps rolling. I think they're not going to get caught in a bad spot at home, especially in a night game. I think they'll win this one. I don't know if they'll cover, but I think they'll win this one.
For sure. I think that they'll win this one as well. Just because the ACC needs it. The ACC really needs it. This is a good Wake Forest team. But at the same time, like Chandler Morris, he's been a hero for the Cavs this year. I think he continues that at home. Cal traveling to number 15, Louisville. Who gets it done here?
Louisville.
Yeah, Louisville.
Yeah, same deal, Jacob. For fantasy purposes, gotta go Louisville.
Yeah.
Lucas, we're gonna get you in this league next year.
All right.
Or we pick teams from each conference. LSU traveling to number 4, Alabama. Brian Kelly's gone. Who do we like?
I need LSU to win this game. I need Alabama to lose. LSU is on my fantasy team again. We talked about it, and I need them to pick it up. Brian Kelly is gone. They're going to avenge him with a win. This will be big in Tuscaloosa. I gotta take LSU.
So we've obviously seen LSU upset Alabama like a few years ago. They always provide really big games. Remember with Joe Burrow and Tua, but I think in this one Alabama makes a statement, showing why they're ranked number 4. I think they win at home, by a couple touchdowns.
I'm also going with Alabama. Ty Simpson's playing too good a ball right now. Um, and I think that the LSU offensive line has not proven to me that they could sustain drives and protect us. So I'm going to go with Alabama. Final one. This one's on NBC and Peacock. We remember what happened last year when Army and Navy started undefeated, and then they both ran into the buzzsaw that was Notre Dame late in the season. Navy traveling to number 10, Notre Dame.
I
I'll
think,
take. Oh,
but
sorry, go Lucas.
I think Notre Dame, not Notre Dame, Navy kind of got caught last week. Maybe looking ahead, they lost their first game of the year against North Texas. I think Notre Dame at home, now that they see they're ranked 10th in the CFP rankings, I think they're gonna run the ball like crazy. Um, I mean, I don't know. They might be able to open up the passing game, but I feel like this is gonna be a big Jeremiah Love game. I feel really bad because I'm wearing a Navy shirt right now, but I'm gonna take Notre Dame.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll take Notre Dame too. They're just too strong. CJ Carr's playing well. Jeremiah Love, like we talked about, is a great running back, so they'll keep it going.
Yeah, Navy horrific on defense, man. Like just horrific. And Notre Dame's one of the hottest offensive teams in the country right now. Got to go with the Irish. Okay, I like it. All right, we got some picks. I got to actually start tracking these.
Did you track them for this week?
I don't think I did. I got to do that, Lucas. I think you're kicking our butts.
Yeah.
I think I'm a distant third.
I wanted to ask, did you want to throw in the Tulane and Memphis game by chance? Because that's a good one.
That is a great one with a lot of conference and playoff implications on the line. Who you like in that one?
Memphis at home. I think they're only favored by 3. That's why I asked if you want to do that one because it's a close line and they're 6-2 and 8-1.
See, if they were ranked, they would show up on the list that I was looking at. I love it.
Um, I want to take Tulane. I like Tulane. I like Retzloff at quarterback. I think Memphis is gonna slip, and I think Tulane's gonna win.
All right.
Yeah, I think that this is going to be a fun matchup. I really like this one. I think that the door is slowly creaking open for James Madison, and this is going to be an example why Tulane against Memphis is going to get the win. I'll be a fun one in the American.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else before we close out tonight?
No.
Nope.
Nice, cool, awesome. Well, another great show. We will catch you up next week. We'll do another rankings reaction. We'll talk about our Week 12 games. A lot of big games coming up this weekend that are certainly going to affect the playoff race. And as we get into more of those rivalry and conference races, a lot of things heating up across the country. But for Lucas Miller, Jacob Vanderford, I'm Bryan Partika. This is CFBT.
See you.